Hey, this is Brandon, and you're watching Ghouls, Guts, and Gore. This is a saw it for the movie Don't Breathe, which is the new movie from Fede Alvarez. I first discovered him because he directed the new Evil Dead remake, which everybody wanted to hate, and it was frickin' amazing. So, this new movie comes out, Don't Breathe. I see the trailer for it, and really cool premise. Like, you take kind of a home invasion story and make the killer or the guy that owns the house a blind man. I found that really interesting. So basically, the movie Don't Breathe is really freaking intense and suspenseful as hell. Like, it's kind of like a Hitchcockian movie with how suspenseful it is. So I love Hitchcock, and that's one of the things I really loved about this movie is I look over and Courtney's like got her hands up and is kind of holding near her mouth. Even myself, I'm like, kind of playing with my hands and just you're nervous, during this movie, and it takes a really tense setup for me to actually move in my chair at a movie theater. Like, I'm very much just sitting watching the movie, dead silent, unlike a lot of the assholes around me that are talking. They can, burn in hell. But anyways, so the I guess the bad guy in this movie, the guy that you see in the trailers, which is this big bulky freaking like military guy in a white wife beater. He's got gray hair and he's a blind man and he doesn't have a name. He's just in the credits as the blind man. And he's really freaking menacing. Like, this guy, what I liked about the movie and about his portrayal is as he's hunting these intruders in his home, he's not really using traps at all. They very easily could have fallen into the path of this movie being like The Collector, because it all takes place in a house and every room is used in this house. But there weren't any like traps that this guy is setting. He's just hunting these people with his hearing, his sense of smell, and just his military background. He's a really intense character. The movie Don't Breathe is also just a really fast-paced movie. Like, there's not a lot of exposition. We learn a little bit of backstory about each of the characters early on, but we don't dwell on it too long. We kind of jump right into the action, and the majority of the movie takes place in this house that these three kids try and break into to rob. So once we get in the house, like, it's non-stop intensity, where, they're trying to get out, but things are going wrong, and the blind man is not going to let them leave. He's just a really intense character that you fear as an audience member watching this movie. So anytime he's stalking or, trying to locate the kids in the house, it's freaky and it's really intense, and you're startled every time you see him on camera. So the movie also kind of plays with your morality a little bit. I always like to look at a movie and kind of see who I'm thinking I'm rooting for. And you think you're going to be rooting for the guy whose house just got broken into. But then he turns out to be this really creepy dude who has some mysterious things that he has going on in the house. You think you're not going to relate with the three characters that are breaking into the home, but you relate to Rocky's character, played by Jane Levy, just because of how some things you learn about her home life and, kind of an interaction with her younger sister about why she's breaking into the house. So you kind of get some different motives from all the characters, and it leaves you, kind of understanding different people's perspectives. So obviously the movie's called Don't Breathe because it's what the characters are trying not to do, because if they breathe, that makes sound, and that's how the blind man finds them or knows they're in the room. And the use or lack of use of sound is really well done and probably the highlight of this movie. Because sound is so important when you're watching this in the theater, I suggest you go see this movie in the theater, because you will kind of notice how silent the theater gets. Even people that were like eating candy or having their soda, when it gets to certain parts of this movie, it quiets down because it's so intense that as an audience member watching it, you're just kind of struck in your seat, unable to move. So what's really cool is, watching the characters kind of struggle to hold in a breath or huddle in a corner, or creaky floorboards come into play. Just the setting of the house and vents and corridors and crawl spaces, all those come into play in this movie, and the way the sound is layered on top of the locations in the house is really impressive and really draws you in. The setting is a smart one. Just out of convenience, this guy lives in kind of a rundown area of Detroit. Allows lots of noise to happen in the house that neighbors wouldn't notice because he's really the only one left over in the street in this village. So all those noises that you can think of that go along with an old creaky house, imagine trying to get through that house away from a guy trying to kill you and not make any noise. Good setup. So overall, I enjoyed the heck out of Don't Breathe. Every time I thought it was going to go one way, it went another way. It gets pretty twisted at the end. There's some weird things you learn about the characters, and it's just a really satisfying movie by how much emotion it draws out of you. You're definitely on the edge of your seat watching it, and it's a really intense watch and really suspenseful movie. So definitely go check this out in theaters. Absolutely worth it. I loved it. I would watch it again. So thank you so much for watching this Saw It from Ghouls, Guts, and Gore. I'm Brandon Smith. Please subscribe to Ghouls, Guts, and Gore. If this is your first time watching a video from us, check out some of our past videos. We went to Scare LA. There was a guy that stapled his forehead and starts bleeding, and V. Neil runs up to save the day. There's a guy that falls asleep and has haunters mess with him. That's all in that video. Check out our vlog where we went to the Leica exhibit at Universal. We saw Guillermo del Toro's At Home with Monsters exhibit in LA. And there's so much cool horror props in that video. So please click subscribe for more stuff like that. Like this video, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and stay tuned for more stuff because Halloween is right around the corner. Yes! Thanks again for watching. Stay horrible.